My brother expired November of 2018.
Was he sick beforehand?
Yes, he's been paralyzed since 2006. And me, my mom, we have basically been his backbone. This lady on the other side, she wouldn't even be able to tell you how to do nothing for him.
Was there ever anything romantic with the two of you?
We had a meeting one day at work. After the meeting, kind of hung around, you know, a good situation. You know, I was trying to go as far as I could without having to let my wife know.
Plaintiff Maxine Cook claims her sister-in-law tricked her into paying for her brother's burial by hiding her insurance policy. She's suing for $3,515. Defendant Chanel Cook claims she paid her share and the plaintiff pushed her out of planning her own husband's funeral.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yeah. This is case number 234 on the docket, Cook versus Cook.
We have the plaintiff, Ms. Cook.
Yes.
You are suing your sister-in-law, Mrs. Cook, for $3,515 for funeral costs for your deceased brother.
Yes.
And that means he was your husband.
Yes.
Your husband, I see. And you are?
I'm his stepson.
The stepson,
Yeah.
okay. Why don't we start with your story first, and then I'll come to you.
I'm here suing my sister-in-law due to the fact that I paid for my brother's final costs.
It was your responsibility.
Okay,
to,
I'm going to give
that's
you
your
a
brother.
chance. I'm going to give you a chance to talk. Don't talk now.
Again, I paid for his final costs, the funeral, the burial, the repast, and actually, Chanel, she had a policy and never even said anything that she had an insurance policy. My brother expired November of 2018, and we were at the funeral home, and she asked if she can sign a promissory note, and I paid for it because she tried to hide the policy and didn't inform the funeral home or the cemetery that she had a policy. The funeral director informed me that she tried to cash in on it, but she found out that she couldn't cash in on the insurance policy because the insurance were mainly for his final costs. I paid almost $12,000 cash for his funeral. Here's the almost $6,000 that I paid to the funeral home on November 20th.
All
and
right.
I have to be honest, Judge, I knew something like this would happen, so I asked the funeral director, I said, I'm gonna give you $6,000 cash, but I want you to put the policy in. Here's your $6,000 cash to make sure that you get paid. Because she said, well, Maxine, I've had your brother's body since November 9th. And if I don't get the money, I'm gonna ship his body back to the morgue.
So you put the $6,000 in to pay for the
Funeral home.
Funeral.
Yes.
Not for the burial yet, or?
I haven't gotten to that part. I put in everything, actually. $25.15 to the cemetery.
Right, for the burial.
And also, I paid $1,000 for the venue for the repast after the funeral.
I assume a repast dinner is kind of like a wake. People get together then and
have dinner and, you know, catch
talk about
up.
the deceased.
Yes.
I see. Okay,
yes.
I just want to make sure that I knew what you were talking about. All right, this promissory note signed by the defendant here, the borrower agrees to pay the lender the total amount of $8,210. The borrower will receive insurance policy and the payment in the sum of $8,210. Okay, let me hear your side of the story.
She took over everything from the beginning. She never included me in anything. That's why she was saying that she was going to pay for everything. Don't worry about it.
She had his funeral planned before we even before he even passed away. She was already planning his funeral.
And he's your dad?
Yeah, that's my dad. Like, why, how you gonna try and tell somebody that you telling everybody at the hospital you paying for everything because you want to look good, but now you don't want to pay. Then she's saying she hiding the policy. Well, in a promissory note, how you gonna say that when the insurance come through, if you didn't know it was no insurance? You just sat here and said you ain't know it was no insurance.
I got it.
And she asked you to sign a promissory note.
Okay, when the insurance came through, how much was the insurance?
Well, actually, the insurance didn't pay out because of a substance that was found in
your
my
husband.
husband's system.
So how
Yes,
long were you married to him?
19 years.
Oh, so it's a long-term marriage.
Yes, and from taking it back to the beginning, she took over everything. She was arranging everything. And the reason why she didn't know I had insurance is because she never even included me in
didn't
anything.
ask.
When she included me in there,
That's when she found out.
that's when I let them know that I
Okay.
do have insurance.
How much did the insurance
The
pay?
insurance policy was a $20,000 policy.
Okay, and how much did they?
We didn't receive anything but for what they paid for.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. What did the insurance
They
pay
just
for?
paid the $5,906 to the funeral home.
Funeral home. So the
Yes.
insurance, no matter how much the policy was for,
Right.
the insurance only paid
Right,
for the funeral.
yeah.
It didn't pay for the burial and it didn't pay for the repast.
Right, because
No.
they're asking for that back because of the way he died.
Was he sick beforehand?
Yes, my father's been paralyzed since 2000.
Okay, well, that's just significant. I need to hear this.
He's been paralyzed since 2006.
Wow.
He was shot, and the bullet ricocheted off.
Picture of the father.
It shattered the top of his spine,
Oh.
and he's been paralyzed from the neck down ever since. And me, my mom, my youngest sister, and my brothers, we have basically been his backbone. We've been
Yeah.
taking care of him, cleaning him. This lady on the other side, she wouldn't even be able to tell you how to do nothing for him. But that's her brother, and she loved him so much. If that's your brother, you love him so much, why are you doing this to his wife? A person that he loved, his kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you doing this?
I understand your...
The real reason is her policy didn't go through. That's why she don't want to pay for it now, because her policy didn't go through. Don't tell nobody, but I got a policy too.
You even said in your statement that you were going to make sure that he was laid to rest respectfully.
Yes.
Okay, so here's what we're left with. The original promissory note was based on the insurance covering the $8,210. That's what the meeting of the minds was. As it turned out, the insurance didn't cover $8,210, but only covered $5,906. That's all the insurance covered. And that covered the funeral. So the funeral has been taken care of. So now all we're left with is the burial and the $1,000 repass.
We had already had a memorial service, Your Honor.
The night before or something.
We had it.
No,
we
can I
had it.
have-
We were supposed to have the funeral on the 17th, but
I
she
can see
pulled
that.
out,
Okay.
trying to make my mama look bad.
Okay, I don't need to get into motives or even feelings on this. I'll take a look at it, but it's clear you wanted to host the repast dinner, and you did. You don't get recovery for the repast dinner. The only issue remaining is the actual burial, which is $2,515.
No, oh yeah, that was 25.
$2,515, okay.
Yes.
He was your brother, and you've expressed very strong feelings about your brother. And you, obviously, he was your husband, you loved him, and he's your dad, and I get all of that. So, the fairest way to settle that part of the suit is you both should split the burial of a man you both profess to love. You paid,
I paid cash
you
for
paid the cash, the whole thing, so you reimburse her for half of it. So that way, both of you will have pitched in for your husband's burial. So I find for the plaintiff in the sum of $1,258.
She wasn't there for my brother. She actually moved out and left him. So God is good.
You're evil and you're conniving, and you'll get your day. You'll get your day. Trust and believe. I got a comment. You'll get your day.
Plaintiff Samantha Quinci claims she loaned her coworker some cash to get him through a tight spot. But when she hit a rough patch of her own, he refused to pay her back. So she's suing for $450. Defendant Richard Enlow claims he had a good situation going with the plaintiff and that the money was a gift, not a loan.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning.
It's case 104 on the docket, Quinci versus Enlow.
Thanks, Najee.
You're welcome, Judge.
Let me see what I have here. We have the plaintiff, Ms. Quinci, and you are suing the defendant, Mr. Enlow, for $450 for an unpaid $1,000 loan. What's the story?
Well, what happened was, we were at a meeting at work one day, and my coworkers and I, we all knew he was kind of just stressed out, and I knew he just was really stressed, and I wanted to help him out. And but I did give him the money, and I'd said, but I only could do this, you know, if you pay me back.
And
So
did you make any arrangements how you would be paid back?
he was gonna pay me back like $250 at a time, like in chunks.
4 payments of
Yeah.
$250?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you pay the loan?
Well, me and Samantha, we actually worked at a restaurant together. I was a server and she's a bartender. We had a great rapport, you know, and of course, I am married, but as attractive, you know, people do, you know, you might be interested in people, you know, sometimes you go back and forth and, you know, you have good chatter every now and then. So, you know, I feel like we had a good, good situation.
So you're married, but you enjoy talking to...
I feel like, you know, I had a good friend in Samantha.
Nothing more?
Oh, no, nothing more. I want to keep a happy home, for sure.
How did she loan you money?
We had a meeting one day at work. After the meeting, kind of hung around. I end up, you know, just discussing my financial woes at the time. You know, she intervenes and kind of insists like, oh, well, how much, you know, if you would need some money to take care of something, how much would it be? And, you know, I kind of like ignored it at first only because I'm married, like I said, and, you know, I'm not thinking like that because I try to keep business and personal. But she kind of mentioned it again, so I ended up telling her how much I owed at the time. And, you know, she, from there, kind of insisted that, you know, she would give me money to help with my finances at the time.
The normal reaction would be, when can I pay you back? How do you want me to pay you back? It may take some time or whatever. That's the next discussion. Not, oh, thanks for the $1,000 and boom.
Oh, well, it wasn't like that at all, definitely. I didn't intend on paying it back because it wasn't given to me in the stipulations of a loan. Basically, it was just me, where I'm from. You know, friends do things for friends, and friends return the favor.
Did you pay her back any part of the money?
Actually, I did, only because.
Why'd you pay her back if it wasn't a loan?
Well, because she threatened to sue me at that time, and you know, I had to end up letting my wife know and everything. You know, I wasn't even going to tell my wife and everything.
Okay, so.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
You didn't tell your wife that this young woman gave you $1,000?
No,
that's not
Judge,
a smart thing.
I was trying to be, you know, the man of the household, and you know, you don't want everybody thinking, you know, you can't hold your weight in the household. So, you know, I was trying to go as far as I could without having to let my wife know of the woes at the time.
How long you been married?
I've been married for 3 years now.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're married, you love your wife.
Yes, and she's actually 3 months pregnant now, by the way.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
Good.
you.
Okay. So let's say one day you come home and she's later purse down, and you suddenly see, as you're walking into the room, that $1,000 fell out of her purse. And you would say to her, as anyone would, wow, where'd you get that? And she says, oh, I didn't want to tell this guy at work, he gave me $1,000 because we had some, you know, we're in some financial pressures here, and you know, this young guy, good-looking guy, gave me $1,000.
Yes.
And your reaction would be, oh, isn't that nice of him? No.
Well, not exactly.
Your reaction would be, who is this guy? You took $1,000 from a guy? A young guy? I don't like that. And you didn't even tell me? You weren't going to tell me this? If this was so up above board, you didn't even tell me? Okay, so...
But she did end up reversing the payment.
Was there ever anything romantic with the two of you?
No. I was seeing someone, and I just generally believe in good karma.
Well, how's it going for you so far? Yeah, okay.
He was supposed to be paying me back, and then when I told him that I wanted to take this to court, that's when he did give me the $400.
And also, Judge, if I can say, she didn't initially start asking for any payment back or anything that indicated that it was more than a gift until she ended up telling me, oh, she was having trouble with her car at the time.
How soon after you got your $1,000 did the first statement come from her, I want some money back?
It was at least a month or so because...
What do you say?
Yeah, it was around 2 months that he gave me the first initial, like, $50.
But when did you first ask for it back?
By the first of the next month.
So it was a month later.
A month later.
And it was your understanding that he would pay $250 a month.
Yeah.
And by the end of the first month, when you didn't get the $250, that's the first time you raised the issue.
I told him I could be a little lenient too, but after he only had given me the $50, I kind of started to feel like I was going to get played a little.
Any of this written down? Any of this in text?
I have the proof of the payment we have here and the proof of like text messages saying like that he's going to pay me back and everything.
And Judge, I also have proof of me giving her money as well, because I gave her money towards when she threatened to sue me, because I don't want anything legal attached with me. I've never been sued or anything.
Yeah.
And the only loan, I didn't assume it to be a loan, because I've never gotten a loan in my life. The only loan I have attached to my name is student loans.
Good news and bad. I didn't get a full first check like I thought, but I can Cash App you $50 now, and I start my second job this week. I'll have tips and send you more. Cool? Yeah, well, you have the rest later this week. So she's pretty clear. She expects to be paid back.
But Judge, this is after I ceased to continue working at the restaurant, so we're no longer spending as much time together.
And see, here's another thing. I can have the $250 by Thursday. In other words, both talking about that same exact $250.
But this is after she starts pressuring me, saying, "Oh, my car is this."
Okay,
We're not hanging around anymore. So. Okay,
now you're a grown-up. Okay.
We've been talking. What I was saying, Judge, is we were talking in between there. Before she started asking money, we were still having friendly conversation. And she never brought up the money about anything. She never said anything about a first of the month or
because
anything
from
like
her
that.
point of view, which she has every reason to believe, as most people would, that she believed you would pay her back. People just don't even give friends here, if it's not a special occasion or something like that.
I feel like
Here's
she's upset because
$1,000.
we no longer have a bond. Like, I feel like...
Well, for whatever...
Because obviously she's flirted with me before and I flirted with her, but when you have somebody that you're a friend with, you don't just give them money and not have them sign anything or say anything.
You're married. If you're flirting with them, that's a whole new... You don't want your wife flirting with other guys. You don't want your wife taking $1,000 from other young guys. Even if your wife really meant it only as a friendship she has with this other young guy, I think a reasonable person would say, when a young person gives you $1,000, you should have every expectation, regardless of what the words were said, unless they are so clear that this $1,000 is a pure gift. Don't ever pay me back. You have to assume, as she apparently did, particularly since this started just a month later, to pay back, and it's consistent with the terms that she said initially were $250 a month, you have to assume that this is a loan. And you did give her $400 back.
I feel like that was her being more guilty of feeling like, okay, if you didn't want to, if you weren't giving me money, which it came out of her mouth, I'm giving you money. It didn't say, oh, I'm loaning you money. That never came out of her mouth. The word give was used.
You sued for $450.
So originally it was $850, but then he gave me the $400, so it's $450.
Okay, so I find for the plaintiff in the amount of $450.
You said when you intermingle your business with your work and pleasure, I guess that's what happens when you try to be, a good guy as well.
I think that I'm just very naive and it just went right over my head. If he was flirting with me, I didn't know.
Thanks for watching. Now please approach the bench. The way I look at it, you have two options here. Option A, watch more Judge Jerry. Option B, watch more Jerry Springer. The choice is yours. Now get out of my courtroom. You have more clips to watch. And don't forget to subscribe.